Hello and welcome back to the Let's Glow Show. It's Amanda Sweet, the Creative Fairy Godmother, and every single week we bring together amazing creative entrepreneurs to talk about their life, their skills, their journey, and give you a little tips and tricks on how to activate your journey as well. Today we have a wonderful guest, and we were talking backstage that this is our actual first one-on-one, so y'all get to see it live. Like, the energy is going to be there. I have the co-founder of Monarch Coaching, Erika Rivera. Welcome.
Yay! Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me. I just wake up early because of you, Amanda. Sweet.
I was just saying, like, we haven't gotten to do this, and we interviewed your co-founder, Taylor.
Yes.
Several episodes ago. So now we get to see the other half of Monarch Coaching, which I'm so excited.
Yes, the other half. I know she's my super partner. Yes.
I love it. And she has nothing but amazing things to say about you. And I recently followed you on Instagram, and you are a little bit of everything. You are a dancer, performer, you're a coach. Like, tell me all of the titles that you have.
I know I'm lately doing everything. So all the titles, all of it. Originally from Colombia. I've been living in the US for 5 years now. Oh. So I always say I'm new here, but now I cannot say that anymore.
Kind of new, still new.
Yes. I'm a daughter, I'm a wife, I'm a passionate dancer who lives life to the rhythm of music. But my true purpose and why goes beyond the dance floor. I'm the co-founder of Monarch Coaching, the leadership development company that is changing the world one leader at a time. And yeah, those are my titles.
I love it.
Pretty much, yes.
It's beautiful. There's so many beautiful things. So I'm just curious, how did you end up here? Like, what brought you to the US? Why Detroit? What was the calling here?
So love brought me to the US. So actually, I used to live in South Korea. I lived there for over 6 years, back and forth to Colombia. Yes. So I was dancing in South Korea before coming to the US, and I met my husband. So we met there, we lived together for 3 years, and then we decided to move closer to our families. Sure. But we literally moved closer to his family here in Michigan. We were going to try different options, different states, different cities, and we both found places here to work. And I actually loved Michigan. I really do. Winter is tough. I'm not going to lie. I'm coming from Colombia, which is warm. But I really savor each season now, and summer right now is like my season, and I'm like enjoying it so much. So yes, that's how I came here, because of love, honestly. We decided to start our lives again, and yeah.
I love that. Okay, wait. So how did you end up in Korea?
In South Korea? I know, backtracking. So I moved to South Korea when I was 22. I was finishing my undergraduate degree. I was studying international business, and I was dancing in a dance academy. And we got a Korean agent who wanted to have Colombian dancers in their amusement park. Oh. So we went to Korea. I think 5, 6 of us went to Korea just for 1 year. It was going to be 1 year. We were going to work in this amusement park, and then we were going to be back. That's what I told my parents. That is what I felt I was going to do. Right. And I just fell in love with the culture, the country. It was just magical. And I was like, okay, 1 more year. So 1 more contract. And then 1 more year. Yeah, and my friends were like, what? Yeah. 1 more year. And then I decided to be a freelancer. So I stopped working with stopped working with the agency. And I decided to work on my own with my dance partner. So we were working in weddings, dancing in festivals, teaching. So we did everything, dancing with K-pop stars and different things. Yeah, so we did that for 3 years by ourselves, Jose and myself, and that's it. That's how I got to Korea, just dancing.
That's
my
beautiful.
passion for the, yes, for
Were
dance.
you living anywhere outside of Colombia before South Korea? Like, was that
No,
your
no, no.
first?
That was not my first time. Yes. And I'm an only child. So it was a little bit hard for my parents. It was very, very hard. Hmm.
How did you manage that? How did you like did the opportunity come and you just lean into it? Was it the right time? Was it like what called you to just be like, okay, I'm gonna go? Like,
Yes. So I always have this thing of like my career. So talking about international business
yeah.
and dancing, they both are priorities in my life in different times.
Mhm.
And at the time, it was my career. I wanted to finish, and I did. After in Korea, I finished in Korea, in South Korea. I graduated there, but that was my priority.
Mhm.
So I got the opportunity. I said, no, I'm not going. I'm not going. I can't. I want to finish my career. And it was very hard, but I say no. Then have dinner with a friend. Look how important it is to like surround yourself with amazing people and people that believes in you. I have dinner with a friend and I got the call. I actually was talking with the agent and I was like, no, I'm not going. So he asked me, like, what happened? Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
He was just curious. I was like, no, I got offered to go to South Korea. I'm not going. I want to finish, my degrees. And he's like, what?
Like,
Do you know how many people get to be offered to go to South Korea, to another country, to South Korea to work, Erika? And I'm like, I don't know how many people, but
you're like,
this
for
is
me,
what I
it's
want. And he's
more.
like, Erika, no, like you're gonna learn English. I mean, I didn't know English at the time. You're gonna
Mm,
learn English. You might learn Korea. You're gonna just expand your view about the world. And I was like, he was just telling me all these things, and I was like, you're right. I need to do it. Like I'm still. Sometimes we are like we're always old in any age. We're always like, I'm 20, already 22,
right, right.
I'm
Like your age
already
that you are.
21. Yes.
Yes.
The
Exactly.
age that you are, you always think that that's the oldest.
Right.
It's the oldest that you have lived, but
Mhm.
it doesn't mean that it can stop you from doing things. So I was like, okay, you're right. I'm going to go. And that was the best decision ever, ever, ever. I met so many people from so many different cultures, backgrounds, countries, everything. It's just, it was wonderful. I met the love of my life.
Right. You met your partner. Was it
Yes.
also working in the same program or just like in the
No, he's not a dancer.
okay.
He was an English professor. He was working in a university.
Okay.
Yes,
Nice.
yes, yes.
Ah, that is so cool. And I love that you said it's important to have really supportive friends and friends that understand what your dream is and can
Hmm.
help push you in that direction. I have a similar story. My husband, Labrie, at the time we were
Hmm.
just dating, he got the offer to move to Texas. And I
Okay.
had graduated. I remember we're sitting on his couch. He had this beautiful skylight in his apartment. It's like the sun was coming in on the couch. And he was like, I got an offer to move to Texas. And I was like, go, like, you need to go. And we were only dating for like a year. And I was like, we could do whatever you want. We could break up. We could do long distance. Like, I didn't say like I'd come with you, but basically he was like, well, I'm thinking about staying. And I was like, why? For me? Like, if you're going to stay for me, like, don't even do that. Cause
Mhm.
you've been at this job. You need to go expand yourself. You need to explore, see something new, something different.
Mhm.
By the end of the conversation, it was like, okay, let's go. He was like, you want to come with me? And I was like, yeah. Didn't hesitate at all. He was like, think about it. Think about it. I was like, yeah. He's like, no, this is a
Yes.
big deal. I was like,
Mhm.
yeah, let's go. And it
I
was so
love that.
fun. It was so good. Like we met so many people. We grew into ourselves. So
Mhm.
I'm wondering what advice you have for people watching who are in a point where they're like feeling like they could go somewhere else or they've been rolling it around in their mind. Like, what advice do you have for people to move to another country? Like, how can they get over that first big gulp, you know?
Yes. Yes. I understand that can be very, very scary. It is. And everybody has different situations in their life.
Sure.
However, you're here right now, you're living your life. Moving to another city, another country is just going to bring things to your own life. And that it doesn't matter if maybe it doesn't go the way that you wanted, but you're gonna learn from those things and they're gonna make you better no matter what. If you
Mhm.
stay, you're gonna be always wonder, what if, what if, what if. If you do it, you say, I did it, I didn't like it, I came back, I have my same, like the same friends, my family's here, I'm comfortable here. But at least you try, you need to try everything as much as you can. I always have this quote of my friend. You know the quote, you have to step out of your comfort zone. But my
Mhm.
friend, he used to say, you need to expand your comfort zone. Don't be
Ooh.
uncomfortable, but you
Sure.
need to expand your comfort zone. But like in order to do that, you need to prepare yourself. You need to try different things so you can expand that. And it is hard, and recognizing that is important. But the fact that you make that decision, it makes a difference, because it's not just about traveling, it's about changing jobs,
Right.
it's about breaking up with your partner, right?
Mhm.
It's about like life is just constantly changing and transforming, and tough decisions are part of our lives.
Yes.
So what you think is best for yourself. I know you have people around. My parents were devastated. My parents were very sad. In Colombia, we live with our parents after we get married,
Mhm.
until we get married, sorry. So we live with them all the way through,
Right.
college, with them, like,
Yeah.
and then we moved out. So for my parents, their only child moving away when she was 22 years old,
Right.
it was
That's great.
so devastated. And I love them, and I felt bad for them,
Yeah.
but I need to think about myself and my life, and I want to accomplish things so I
Yeah.
can be a better daughter for them as well, and I can support them better, right? So think about all those things. You're doing those things for yourself, but at the same time are beneficial for the people around you.
Right. 100%. Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
But I think it's like important to recognize the challenging stuff. And that's what comes to
Mhm.
mind
Yes.
first. Like, oh, it's going to be scary. It's going to be different.
Hmm.
I'm not going to know anyone. But it's also important to recognize like what good can come from this. I could meet my future spouse. I could, learn something new, learn a new
Hmm.
language.
I
And
know.
whole, like it's like moving back home. When I moved to Texas, everybody was scared. They were like, oh my gosh, it's going to be terrible. Texas is terrible. It has a reputation. But I was like, we can always just move back home. Well, like it's that safety net of our hometown. Like Detroit isn't going anywhere, Columbus
Yes.
isn't going anywhere. So
Yes.
when you think about that big move and you're like, oh my gosh, all this stuff, like your hometown will always be available to move back to. And
Mm-hmm.
I think about that too when I'm doing like creative projects as well. Like
Mm-hmm.
if I'm like, oh my gosh, this is scary. I'm expanding my comfort zone. This is not my usual. I'm stretching myself a little bit. Worst case scenario, I can just go back to work on Monday. Like worst case scenario, I just have like a safety net there that's available. And as I'm like transitioning into like full-time entrepreneurship, I'm like in between right now. And I have
Mm-hmm.
these moments where I'm like, oh my God, like this is so scary. I need to make a leap. And when I'm over here, I'm like, okay, worst case scenario, this is here. So what advice do you have for people like me who are in this in between?
Mm-hmm.
You went full-time entrepreneur, right?
Yes.
Well, how
Yes.
do you make the leap to and make the part of your brain that's used to the 9 to 5 comfortable enough with the leap to be comfortable with entrepreneurship?
Yes. I don't know what is in my mindset that I always believe the more that you put out in your life out there, the more you're going to receive. So life again is about taking risks. And yes, you need to, it's not about jumping without looking, without analyzing, without preparing. Like the planning part exists, and
Yeah.
preparing yourself. Like I can be preparing myself right now for the jump that I'm going to make in 2 years. So it's
Mm-hmm.
not about just like luck and jump and that's it. No, no, no. You
Right.
have to prepare yourself. So it was hard, but the first thing, it was easier because of my beautiful partner. I have an amazing, amazing business partner that's Taylor Miller. So that made it very easy, honestly, when she proposed me to be her business partner.
Yeah.
That was very, very easy because of that. But I think it is because throughout my 5 years of working here in living in the US and working in this company, I felt like I found my purpose. I think like we always are, like constantly we're like, what is our why? What is our purpose in life? I think we're constantly looking for those things. And I think I found it. I honestly think I found it. I was working in this company in an operational role, like entry level. I started from the scratch. When I came to this country, I was like from entry level.
Right.
And I started there. Then I became a leader of the team. And because I was a leader, the leadership development team of the company was, developing me. So I was going through trainings, coaching sessions. That's how I met Taylor. Taylor was in that team.
Ah,
So I saw always the things that this team was doing. I was like, oh my gosh, like, of course, it's very scary to become a leader. It's very scary, especially if you don't have experience.
mhm.
But you have those people in your back. Like, I got you. Resources, I got you. Do you need this? I got you. Role playing,
Yeah,
training, everything that you need. I was like, wow, it was very, 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 like, it made it easier.
sure.
So then I started shadowing this team, and I was like, oh, I'm very interested in, like, I would love to like be part of the team. And I shadow actually again Taylor,
Yeah.
and I loved it. And I moved to the team. I interviewed. I was part of the team for 4 years, and I also became a leader of the team. So
Hmm.
when I was, I don't know, networking with people, talking with people outside of UWM, everybody's like, what do you do? I'm like, I'm in the leadership development team. And everybody was like, what is that? Like,
Right.
I'm like, so we help the leaders of the companies, team level leads and C-suite leads. Like, we help them with coaching sessions, training. Like, they get training like every week, and like we're there for them. And they're like, oh wow, that's amazing. We don't have that. So everybody that I was talking with, they didn't have that. They
Right.
didn't. They didn't. It was like something new for them. I was like, oh, how this? So now, how I was thinking, like, how managers, director, however you call them, how do they do? This is hard.
Yeah.
Like,
A
it's
lot
a
of times
new
they just
role.
throw you in. They're just like, you're a leader now.
Yeah, it's a new role,
Figure it out.
new people.
Yeah.
You are on your own head now. You have different other personalities to manage, plus you have to succeed in your role. It
Right.
is a lot of things. I'm like, wow, like this is insane. This is crazy that people don't know this. So when Taylor was like, kind of like, what do you think about this? I'm like, absolutely. I want other companies that cannot maybe afford or don't have an in-house leadership training to have this support, and that can come from us.
Yeah.
And that's how that was August 2022. It was our second year anniversary, where we like just got the LLC. We're working our company, previous
Hmm.
company, but we were like, let's do it. And then, we jumped, and then we're like, okay, let's now plan what
Yeah.
we're gonna do and how this is gonna look like. And I think just until this year it clicked, like, okay, this is what we want our company to be, because it takes time. It doesn't mean that you jump and you right away are in this amazing place, right? It takes time, and you need to be patient and conscious that everything is about working hard and taking ownership of mistakes that you're gonna make
Mm.
along the way, and be resilient. So we did it. We have the support of our husbands as well, because this is a hard decision to just like quit your job. And especially we were in a really good team, and then we were the leaders.
Yeah.
So it was a hard decision to make. But because of our purpose, I do believe it is gonna be very rewarding. And it is already rewarding.
And so
So that's how it
so officially it's been 2 years that
two
you've
years.
been in business.
Yes.
Amazing.
Yes,
How
2 years, but I just stopped working at my previous company in October last year. So
okay.
so it was like planning, organizing things. We did a few things with companies, but full time, I think from November, yes,
Oh,
last
and
year.
what's that been like for you to go from double duty, because you're doing both, now to doing full-time in your business? How has that experience been for you?
It has been very like everything, ups and downs. But the beautiful thing, I don't know, do you have, I think you, Amanda, you have different partners in different, like you do a lot of things. So you
Yeah.
have, your husband is one of them, right?
Yes.
I
Yep.
think like, I'm not saying that you shouldn't go to business by yourself. Of course, no.
Yeah.
But the fact that you have a partner is so important, because when I'm down and I'm feeling like, what are we going to do? She's like, I got you. We're going to do this and this and this. Or when maybe she's feeling, like like she's questioning things, I'm like, no, 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 this is good. So we kind of like complement each other and support each other. So it's good that we always have like in partnership, like love is 100%. Sometimes you're gonna love 50%, 60%, the other person 40%, and so on. Like love changes all the time, but it's the same love. It's just like sometimes you give different amount. That's the same for the business. Like it's hard to be always 100%. It's impossible.
No.
So you need that person who completes that 100%, right? And I think that's tailored for me, and that makes it much easier, definitely.
That makes a lot of sense. So
Mm-hmm.
like for the revamp, for example, like I would say I do 90% of the activities, and I have, well, even less than that. So Mariah, she's based in Texas. She does all the social
Mm-hmm.
media, digital assets, website, things like that. If it wasn't for her, I mean, I don't even know what I would be doing. Like I would be running around with like, it would feel like I'm running around with my head cut off. And for Labrie, like he doesn't like to claim that he's my business partner, but he is. He is. Because like yesterday was a good example. Like yesterday I was just out of it. I was so tired. My head was pounding. Everything was hurting. I feel like my cycle is coming. So I was like, I just don't want to do anything. And he was like, what's the problem? He's like, let's just like lay it out. Cause I was stressing out. I was like overthinking. I was like, I have so much to do, overthinking. He's like, what? Let's just like lay it all out. What do you have to do? And he's like, and we just bulleted it. And he was like, okay, well, I got this. I got that. I got that. Then he ran the laundry. Then he did the dishes. I was like,
You need that. Like we all have different strengths, right?
yeah,
Like you are very creative. That's why maybe you have a lot of things, because you have this idea and then this idea, and we need creativity at work.
yeah,
And we need somebody who is like a planner, right? That person that, let's bullet point everything. Let's do this and this and this.
yeah.
We need that, because it's impossible for us to be everything. It is hard.
Yes, 100%.
So
And
we
with
need to accept those things. Yes.
exactly. And in the household, it's the same thing. Like I hear a lot of couples even to this day were like, well, I do the dishes and I do that. And I'm like, we don't have, like, I don't mow the lawn. He won't let me mow the lawn. I refuse to learn how to use a lawnmower. But outside of that, like everything is shared. Like we both do all of the things. And like, I don't know that a household could properly run without teamwork. It's the teamwork part. And I'm like, this is like, it's hard to just take care of yourself, let alone like a household, plus like maintain, you need to lean on each other.
Yes.
So I'm curious, like, how was the dynamic? How did you define the dynamic for you and Taylor? For those of us that are looking for a business partner, how did you know she was the one, so to speak, was the one for your business?
She was my one. Yes. So one thing is to, yes, have a partner and try to find a partner. It is hard to have a partner. Like, don't go right away with your best friend, right?
Yes.
Taylor is my best friend now.
Now,
But we worked together first.
yeah.
I saw her as a colleague. I saw her as my leader. I saw her work ethic, her deliver as a leader, and I loved that. We became very close, even though she was a leader. We became very close, and I have so much respect for her. That's why I went to be a partner with her, because of the way I saw her working. I saw her work ethic. If I wouldn't, that would be different. Like I have best friends. I have my best friends in Colombia. I have friends here. That's different, right? Because you like work ethic is something hard to see when you're not with the person doing it. And I think that's the difference. I saw her, she saw mine. She saw the respect that I have for her, even though we were so close, but we became so close, like so close. but I still have that respect. I showed
Yeah.
up. I was doing what I needed to do. I was helping her with things. So she saw that in me. So that's why she approached me with that idea. So that's the thing. Like, you need to see how your future partner works, especially
Mhm.
their ownership, their work ethic. Like, are they really like, yes, like some people are more creative. Okay, so they're gonna bring that to the table. What I'm gonna bring to the table, right? What are my strengths? So it is important to talk about being honest with yourself and talk about the things that you lack of, your
Mhm.
opportunities, and see if that partner can complement that. Because if we have on the we both are creative, but we're creative in different ways. But if we both are like, okay, we don't get anything done, right?
Right.
Or if we're like very like, no, we need perfection, everything, we're never gonna get any product out because we're gonna be very perfectionist. So the balance is important, and you do need to know your partner. I admire those couples, those partnerships that they don't know really well each other and they just start a business, because it's like a relationship. I feel like I have a relationship with Taylor, like I have it with
Mhm.
my husband.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're talking about like cleaning, who is gonna clean, who is gonna do this. My husband is better at taking the trash out, so he does that, and I
Yeah.
am better at
Yeah.
mopping, like things like that. But like, is partnership. We all collaborate. We all give our best
Yes.
every day for this. Is the same with the business. It is. I think it is the same. I spend so much time with her
Hmm.
that I want to be able to feel like, oh, I want to see her. I want to hang out with her, because if no, that will be miserable.
Right. Right. You got to find someone that you have a good dynamic with
I
and
know.
that you can work well with and that
Mhm.
you can argue well with. I think like that is a big thing too. Like how to have respectful disagreements is really important,
Yeah.
especially like relationship, like love wise, relate because like running a household together is a business. Like you
Yeah.
are maintaining a budget, you are fulfilling orders, you are like you have a larger goal that you're working towards. So like being in a marriage is a business agreement. I
Yeah.
mean, it's we
Yes.
got like intimacy involved, but
Mhm.
like day to day, you're doing operations. We're doing,
Mhm.
we're like, okay, what's on the to-do list? What do we got to do next? But I think the other part of that is like, how do we say like, I don't really like that. That's not how I would do things in a way. Like, how do you make sure that you and Taylor
That
like
report and
have
that.
your opinions heard and then come to agreement? Like, what is that experience
I
like?
love that. I love that question.
Yeah.
And that's something that we teach in leadership, because leaders should be able to coach and provide feedback to their team members. That's
Yeah.
the only way you can grow,
Yeah.
right? That's the only way. I love feedback, and we're big in feedback. And I think the fact that we are a leadership development company, Taylor and I, we hold ourselves in such a high standards, because we are talking about emotional intelligence in our training. So we should have emotional intelligence when we are going to approach certain situations that are uncomfortable. So how we self-manage ourselves and being social aware. Do
Mm.
I know how she's feeling right now? Should I approach her in this moment? So we develop all these things and we teach these things. So we should, like, of course we make mistakes, but
Sure.
we should be good at it. We talk about effective communication. So I know she's more like of a planner,
Mhm.
and she likes to plan. She likes the bullet points like your husband, all of that. I'm more of an adventurer. I'm
Yeah.
more of like, let's do this, So we learn our ways, like the ways that we communicate
Yeah.
and all of that. But the way that we provide feedback, we know that it's coming from a place of love and respect. We
Mm.
are not providing feedback. We're not criticizing.
Mm.
We are talking about like things that are going to improve our processes, our business, our partnership. So
Mm.
everything that we talk about comes from a place of love and respect.
Yeah.
You need to know the time and the place as well. If I see her, she's maybe overwhelmed with things, I'm not going to approach her in that moment.
Right.
Next day, I wait. She maybe self-manage, I self-manage, and then we have a conversation.
Mhm.
And it shouldn't be that hard. It shouldn't
Right.
be that hard when you build a strong foundation. You
Mm.
need to build a foundation before you start providing feedback and coaching, right? Same with our leaders. We tell them, like, you need to build trust in your team. They need to know you care, that you're coming from a place of compassion. You is empathy. Yes, you're empathetic, but you're taking actions as well. So when you provide feedback, they know it's because you have their best interest.
Mm-hmm.
Right, so it's coming from a place of love. So that's it. That's like with everything. At the end of this podcast, this live, Amanda, I'm probably gonna ask you, how did I do? Give me all the feedback. Give me, you know what I mean? Because I love to receive feedback. When I'm teaching, I teach dancing, and this is during the night. And I, every time, sometimes I grab one. Do you like the class? Anything that you would change? I love also receiving feedback, because that with Taylor, I do the same. So when I provide feedback, they know it goes both ways. I want to listen to feedback. I want to learn, but I also want to give you feedback. So you also get better, and we get better together.
Love it. Something that we do at Bamboo that I love, that's really helped me as a leader there. We have a one-on-one every other week. It's just on the schedule with me and my team members, with me and my leadership. It's always on the calendar, and there's always a section for feedback to provide and feedback to receive. And in my previous roles, where I was still leading, like, there was never any space dedicated to that. So it never felt like it was the right time or place. And something that I really like is that, like, there's always time and space for it. So it never feels comfortable in the day-to-day, which I try to create an environment where we should be giving and receiving and feel comfortable being in the moment. But, like, if the moment doesn't feel like it comes in the day-to-day, like, there is time in the week to do it. And so it's really made my experience with giving feedback, because I used to be, like, afraid. I'm like, I don't want them to think I'm mean, because I used to get feedback from, like, my siblings that, you know, family dynamics are different. And when you're younger, you're learning, but it was like, you're bossy, you're bitchy, you're this and that. And I knew in myself that I always saw myself in a leadership position, and every job that I've ever had, I've just been, like, thrown into a position, but never taught how to lead. So I was managing, and I was surrounded by people who bark at people,
Yes.
get angry easily. I worked in food and beverage for a long time. That should say enough. I was in the restaurant industry, which needs a lot of leadership help. But now that, like, Bamboo was probably the best leadership opportunity I've ever had, because they gave us flexibility to lead how we feel comfortable with parameters that provide an environment of love and respect, you know? And so now, like, my one team member, every single time we give feedback, she's like, you just know how to give me feedback that makes me feel good. Like, you make me feel seen. You make me feel like I understand what the challenge is and I know how to fix it. Like, people critique me all the time, and they don't know how to do it with kindness. And she's like, you do that all the time. I'm like, but you allowed me the space. Like, as the person on the other end of that as well, I think we forget how much power we have in the leadership experience. Like, she's teaching me how to be a leader for someone who's empathetic and sensitive.
Yes.
Because, like, I'm used to a fast-paced, like, rough around the edges experience, and she's not that. So I have to approach her differently, and she's turned me into a very, like, soft leader, which is what she needs to be successful. But it's a dynamic. It's not like leadership comes from both sides.
Yes, it comes. Yes, and it's about the follow up, right? Because you see that person changed and did it. Like, you provide a feedback, and they actually changed that behavior for the better. Let them know, because it's about positive feedback and feedback to continue growing, right? So don't forget about that. We have a something that we call the 5-to-1 rule. So before that feedback that is a little tough, you should be providing 5 positive feedbacks, meaning, like, oh, this, but it's not about clothing and how cool you dress and your makeup, because you do, like, we love, especially women, we're like, I love those shoes, I love it's not about, like, oh, I noticed you did this, that's a great job, oh, that's amazing, can you teach me how you do that, because you do it very well. Just small things, right? It doesn't have to be the big shout out. It's just small things that you notice. So when you provide feedback, they know, again, that it's coming from a place of, like, oh no, she really notices me. It means, like, she wants me to be better. They want me to be better, right? So it is not about her because she's my leader and she wants that for herself. It's for
Right.
me. So that is really, really important. So that reminded me when you were talking about like you were asking her too, like you allow me to be this leader, and that's beautiful, because sometimes we are like, you have heard this, also this quote. I love changing quotes.
Yeah. Yeah.
But only
Let
you
me
have
hear.
the quotes like, you treat people how you want to be treated. Mm,
Yes.
Maybe no, because people is different and people want to be treated differently. So we have a lot of leaders that are like, I don't need recognition. I do my job because this is my job, and that's it. So because they don't need recognition, they don't
I don't think
recognize their people, but their people needs recognition. Because we talk
yes.
about the love languages of appreciation. We have that at work, right? We have the words of appreciation, physical touch, like you have to be very mindful at work, of course.
Yes. Yes.
It looks different. We
Yes.
have tangible gifts, acts of service. So everybody receives recognition and motivation
Mhm.
in a different way. So it's on you as a leader to know how they like to receive feedback, recognition, motivation, because it's not about you anymore. It's
No.
about them, each one of them.
And I learned that in my last role, where it was like my leader at that time was she valued respect
Mhm.
over, she kind of like that fear. She liked to bully people. We'll just say it like how it is. Like that was
Yeah.
her leadership style. She
Yeah.
liked people to be fearful, and she thought that was a sign of respect. But she
Mhm.
told me something that, like, she told me a lot of things that really resonated with me, and I learned a lot from her. But she was like, this is the quote. If you think you want to be that bitch, well, you don't get to be her when you're leading people, because you have to be what they need you to be.
Yeah.
And at first I was like, why would
Mhm.
you say that like that? Why would you say that like that? And why are you talking about, but like looking from the outside in, what she was saying was like, lead for the individual, right?
Mhm.
And treat them the way they want. And I was looking at her like, well, you don't do that. Like, why do I have to do that? But you don't have to do that, you know? But
Yes.
like the worst leaders and the people that like are treating you poorly, like you can learn the most from. Because going into Bamboo, I was like, well, I don't want to, like, I want to be completely different. I want to be the opposite of what she made me feel. I want the opposite of fear. And in that role, it was very like old school corporate. And so they believe like it's business, everything's business. And now in this role and like into my future entrepreneur experience, I'm like, I get to like create a work environment that's filled with love. And we
Yes.
are in a relationship. We're with each other 40 hours a week. Like
Yes.
there's no way I can like take the emotion, the empathy, the care out of myself for a person that I sit next to all day long.
Yes.
So, like, it's not like you can't separate the human from the business, like, or from the
Yes.
operations.
No, you can't. And I love that you say like we learn from bad leaders, but I wish we didn't have to learn from them. I
Yes.
wish I bet you that your team members, they're future leaders, and they're gonna learn from you, and they're like, oh, Amanda used to do this, I'm gonna do this.
Yep.
Amanda's great at this, I'm gonna do this. What do we have to suffer through work and through bad leaders? Let's call them bosses.
Yeah.
Why do we have to suffer to be a good leader? What we can know, actually have a leader who develop us, who help us, who support us. Why? Because they don't know better, right? i
Right.
always i always say this, and even with like, I'm coming from Colombia,
Yeah.
people have a lot of biases and things like that, and I used to get very upset,
Mm.
right, when I heard things, because people watches Narcos, and whatever they see on internet, whatever.
Sure.
In
Sure.
our past was very rough as well. So I used to get very defensive, very defensive. I was like, what are you talking about, Colombia? Like, what are
Yeah.
you saying?
Yeah.
Like my Colombia was out, out,
Right.
out. No emotional intelligence.
Right.
I'm like just fighting, defending my country. Now I'm like, they don't know better. They don't know better. They don't know better. They don't have the knowledge I have, right? And I just can be better for others. And I just start with that. I think like that. So I don't, I can self-manage myself and I don't get upset. But I wish, that's why we do what we do right now with Monarch Coaching. That's why we want this company to be what is like changing and helping transform what is the workplace right now? Why do we, like life is so stressful, outside of work.
Yeah.
We have personal issues, we have family issues. Life is rough. Why, as a leader, I cannot help my people? But also why it's because I don't have the tools to help them. I believe those leaders, those managers, they don't know, but they're just going every day to work and figuring things out, and they don't have the support. So that's what we want to offer, because you do need to learn about emotional intelligence. That's something that you can develop, different than IQ, right?
Yes.
So you can develop emotional intelligence. You can help build trust in teams through different strategies. You
Yeah.
can provide feedback and coaching through different strategies and philosophies, but you need the guidance and the support, right? You cannot do it at all and alone. And that's why you're good in bamboo. You're saying like, because I bet you have that support from them, from your
Yes.
leadership that is letting you like, okay, shine.
Yep.
Glow, Amanda, glow.
Yeah.
Know?
Exactly. They see it, they support it, they understand my style, they give me support where I need help, and I'm now better able to communicate like these are the things that I'm not good at, and I need support here, and I'm able to tell it to my teams too. It's not about being like, oh, I know everything and I'm the best at everything, like, no, it's like I suck at this stuff and I'm here, and that's why you're here, because you compliment me, because these are all the things that you're good at, which are the things that I suck at. So that's why, it's working so well. But like, yeah, that like all of that stuff that you just mentioned, like empathy, not like I feel like empathy can be learned.
Yeah.
Like emotional intelligence, all of that stuff. Like, I feel like I've learned that over time. It's always been in me, but I've always been in, this like fight or flight mode when it comes to leadership, because I was tossed in, right?
Yes.
You're responsible. Now you got to be responsible for these people. Like, here are all new responsibilities without any tools to help you understand. And now I'm like, okay, I feel like if now me were to talk to like 22-year-old me, like managing a potbelly, like that's what, and screaming and yelling at my team and all of that stuff, like we would have had to sit down and do some training, but that was a different person. Like that version of me is so different. And that version of me probably could have never seen this version of me possible to exist, because I'm just bossy and that's just how I am. And I'm XYZ and I'll just accept that. I can be like rough and, but I'm not, like that was something that other people put on me. I'm not that.
No. No,
So,
and you said it, we need our team to complement us. We cannot be everything. We can't. When I was a leader at this company, I have a lot of things that I didn't know, but I have a team. I learned how to empower them to do it, right? And guide them. You cannot do everything. So that's why if you're the type of boss that like, I'm just telling you what to do, okay, what are you bringing to the table, right? As a leader, what are you offering us as well? So yeah, it is a balance. Everything like partnership, relationships, everything is a balance. We always have to put, but especially as a leader, we have to put a lot. We have the power, and with that power, we have a lot of responsibility. So that's why they need support. That's why they need the support, because they cannot do everything by themselves, because they're gonna be, like you say, like struggling and running around. And yes, leadership is stressful. Is even with the support, is stressful, and you're gonna make mistakes, and that's okay. But what type of mistakes you're gonna make? Are you gonna make mistakes that you're gonna make feel somebody so bad? An employee, you're gonna make them feel so bad that then they're gonna feel their family bad. Those energies are gonna transfer to home, and then their kids or their wife or their husband are gonna pass that like energy to the community, and the community, like it is dangerous. It is that, yes, it's an effect. So we talk about in our company about the butterfly effect, right? How small changes, how something so small, it can create something so big in the future, in tomorrow, right? So what type of small changes you're doing, positive or or not positive, negatives, right? So it is
Mm.
just we need to be careful with the leaders that we put in place. We need to be careful, and also we need to provide guidance. We need to provide all the tools we can provide. So that butterfly effect that we're calling, because butterfly effect had different meanings about how we take it, is like that. Like one person can make so many different, yes.
Is that where Monarch Coaching came from?
Kind of, yes. Yes, I think that's one of the reasons we name it Monarch, because of the transformational, like our philosophies is a transformational leadership, meaning
Mm.
we want leaders who inspire and motivate team members and transform with the world
Mm.
and help transform the world together, right? So how things, for example, COVID happened, right? Something
Yeah.
that we didn't expect. And I have to lead through COVID, and it was very
Mm.
tough. But again, like, okay, this is happening. So how can we adapt together? Okay, I'm gonna change this. I'm gonna help you with this. You can work from home. You can, like how we adapt to changes and transform with, instead of like, no, resisting
Fight
to
it.
change.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we need to continue, keep moving, keep
Mm.
transforming. That's why that's kind of like our philosophy. And like the butterflies, transforming as well, from caterpillar to the butterfly. So it is, yeah, maybe it's like a cheesy, I
No,
don't know, like way to say it,
true.
but like it is, yes, it is. That's the part of like the Monarch coaching, like the transformational leadership part,
Yeah,
that
but I
butterfly.
also like the butterfly effect too, because it's such small things. I remember I was working with a very challenging employee as a leader, and we decided to transition that person out, and we got a new team member in. And that person's first day, I remember they came in and they were like, "Hey, how are you?" And I was like, "Good. Like, I'm great." I hadn't heard that question in the last 6 months, right? So small, so insignificant. And then she later asked me, like, "What time are you taking your lunch today?" And I swear I almost started crying because I hadn't taken a lunch that whole time that previous team member was there, because I was compensating for their lack of initiative and things like that. So she was just like, "What are you having for lunch today? What time are you taking your lunch?" And I was like, "Me?" Like, I get to, it's so small, so insignificant to her. She's just being who she is and asking how I'm doing and asking what time my lunch is. And in that moment, like, I was like very transparent with her. I was like, "Yo, that was like the first time I've heard that in 6 months. And I will take a lunch, and I'm going to take it at this time. And I'm going to tell you right now, I haven't been taking lunch for the last 6 months. And this is going to be a challenging change for me. But I want to
Mhm.
encourage you to keep asking me this question. And I want you to make sure you take and like, it was so, like, in her mind, it might have been insignificant. But for
Yeah,
me, it was like
it,
everything.
like her nature is just like being kind and just cared about people. Yeah.
Exactly, and I, like, had no idea how much that, like, the
Mhm.
person that didn't fit was impacting my everything, my everyday,
Mhm.
the way I showed up, the way I came to work. I was like, you know like,
I meant that one word, like what a person tells you something good or bad with just one word, like you're kind of like silly, or you're so creative, and
right,
that word goes so well or so bad for you in your life. You take and you're like, I'm actually creative, and you never thought about it. That's why
right,
like are so important, because especially they have more power, quote unquote power, because you see them up there, right? And they tell you like, you are very creative, and you're like, am I creative?
mhm,
I'm
yeah,
creative. And you start just developing this skill, and you're like, you are the most creative person, because one person saw a little bit, saw it, and just like, you are that
yeah.
person that asked you about lunch, like, wow, like I have to
It
take
changed
lunch.
the dynamic of the way, like, it was her first day, and it changed
Mm,
everything. It changed everything, the entire environment, the way I approached her, the way she approached me, the way we approached our workflow. So small, so simple, but like you said, like, that stuff big, like, if somebody says, like, "You smell funny," or something like that, it dings around in your head all, like, for you can hear it echoing
you can
for
smell it.
you can smell it. It's smelly. Like, it's not, it's a smelly comment, So like, that one word, those little things, like they stick with you. And sometimes the most insignificant things like echo the longest, you know?
Yes.
And I remember like I love, like if I see something cute, like if I see something out and about, I'll say something. Like I'll
Yeah.
not like, oh, I like your shoes. That same thing that you were saying earlier. Oh, I like this. But it opens up the world for like engagement and interaction with a stranger that might have just walked right past me.
Yeah.
But like you can see people's faces change. Like, oh, somebody saw the effort that I put in. I thought it was cute, and that person thought it was cute. And then they're walking different, they're moving different. Everything
Yeah.
about their experience is different from that little, and you never know like what that one little word or that one little compliment might take that person. But
Yes.
it's the same.
You never know. Mm-hmm.
It's so, and we're already at an hour.
I know. It's such a good. That means that we really have to do one-on-one in
I
person
know. No, we'll do
because we
coffee.
have a lot of great things to talk. Yes.
So good. And you mentioned before backstage, like dancing and coaching and leadership. Are you doing a mixture now?
Finally.
Tell me a story.
After 34 years. Yeah. So I always again like picked one or the other. I was like prioritizing. And I think it was okay doing it because I didn't master dancing until Korea, or I didn't master like right now leadership until like 5 years or 4 years of working in this company. So I needed to like really focus on things. But this year finally I'm doing both. It just makes my heart full now, honestly. So I work every day, right? Normally, like we work our normal day and do our projects and train and all of that. But I teach dancing in this dance academy called Detroit Dance Loft.
Oh,
So for adults, yes. And it's a beautiful community. I'm teaching there on Thursdays, but I take classes Tuesdays and Wednesdays. So I'm dancing. Saturdays I take classes. Sometimes I
yeah.
teach privates. Like I'm dancing all the time, honestly
Oh,
now. So I love it because I can really balance those two right now
yeah.
with my lifestyle. I can't do it. So um, I'm just happy because those the knowledge transfers for both of them, because in leadership and training, we talk about body language and all of that. And I think dancing gives me that.
Yeah.
But like leadership and like having a group of people, I'm teaching them, I'm helping them, I'm developing them. So like the leadership portion helps me with that aspect of my life as well. So everything, I feel like you can do multiple things. Like sometimes we try to be in one box. Okay, I'm a singer, this is what I am, or I'm an influencer, but I just talk about this. And no,
Yeah.
you can do so many. We have so many things that we can do and develop and just explore and see what we like.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if it's your profession, because dancing is more my passion than my profession now. Like I do it more because I love doing it more than for money or for anything else. And just to have that balance of both, I think is the sweet spot. Yes, I think
There's so much, like, especially with couple dancing, there's so much like leading and listening that goes into it. Like, it definitely makes sense. It makes sense.
Yeah, for the partner dance, you're right. You have the lead and you have the follow.
Right. And both.
The leader is the one who makes the follow look beautiful, right? The leader is there to make the follow just to glow,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? To shine. So that's what we leaders do in our day to day. We should be there to guide and help our follows, our team members to shine, to glow, to be there. So that's why everything just translates.
It makes so much sense.
That you do, yes.
Oh, so good. Okay,
Yeah.
I have two more questions for you.
Yes.
What is your last piece of advice that you would like to share with our audience, whether it be leadership or travel or passions, whatever the case may be? What is like the final piece of knowledge you want to share with us?
Maybe I'm going to share this because I just shared this with my students yesterday. I have beginners, like they just came to the class, first class. And as an adult, it's very hard to learn something new because you think as an adult, we think like we know everything,
Yeah.
right? And challenge yourself to learn something new. It is very difficult. It takes so much from you. So I always tell them to be very patient with themselves, and understand that learning it takes time. But the fact that they just took the first step, that means everything. That means everything for them. So just try new things. Try new things. Maybe if you right now are doing something at work, maybe you cannot quit how I did, right? We all have different financial situations, and you cannot quit right away, but find that thing that sparks your life. Even if you still have your 9 to 5 job, find that thing that is part of your life that you're looking forward to, have something to look forward to, something that is gonna make you a better person, and something that requires development, like learning, like whether you're learning a new sport, peekaboo. I just learned peekaboo. I'm playing peekaboo with my husband, and we're like, let's do peekaboo, because
Yeah.
we know in the future when we are a little bit older, we
Yeah.
cannot play, like, we cannot run or dance very
Forever.
hard. So peekaboo is something we can do. So
I love it.
just pick something that sparks your life, something that you're looking forward to. We all have, so you need to try. It might be dancing, it might be a sport, it might be music, it might be drawing.
Yeah.
Just find something that, like, it challenges you, right? Not something easy, something that it challenges you. Be patient with yourself, and just feel the like the amazing, like just the amazing feelings that comes from learning something and like achieving something. I think that's more than advice. It's just that it's just like encouragement to like find that thing that is just gonna add something else to their life.
Oh, I love it. I do that all the time. I feel like one of my mottos is if I ever feel stuck, I take a class. Doesn't matter like if it's like a leadership class or a dance class or a craft class. And over the winter, I learned how to sew, and it was very hard because it's math. It's all math.
Mhm.
They don't
Oh
tell
wow.
you that it's a math class, but when you get there, you're like, oh, this is a math class. Like
Oh my
I had
gosh.
no idea. Now we're making
No
clothes.
idea.
The first jacket that I made, I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. But it was such a huge feat because I was like, this is so hard. But we got
Mhm.
to the other end of it, and it helped me just get back into my spirit of curiosity and
Yes.
wonder
Yes.
and excitement. And so, like, you can only find what your thing is or what your passion is or your purpose is if you're trying
If
stuff.
you explore, yes.
Yeah,
If you explore.
like you said earlier, you were like, you'll always wonder if you would have liked the new city or the new town or the new job if you never do it.
If you
So
never
my
do.
suggestion is go to the class. Take Erika's class.
Take my class.
Yeah,
Yes.
you
Dance
like
with me. We have fun.
exactly. So I love that. I love you. Thank you so much. This
No,
was
thank you,
beautiful.
Amanda. Honestly, thank you for everything that you do. You just glow. I'm always saying glowing because this is less glow, so I'm with the theme. But honestly, like, you sparks people's life, and like what you're doing with the revamp and all of those things, like that's such an amazing thing. So thank you for having me. Thank you for having this show,
Thank
for your
you.
questions, for your curiosity. Yes, I appreciate you. Thank
I
you.
appreciate you too. Tell everybody where they can learn about you, they can follow your journey, they can take your classes. Tell us all the links.
Yeah. So in my Instagram, we can maybe share in the description, is
Yes.
Erika Rivera. So with my combination of two last names. My Instagram for my company is Monarch Coaching. So super easy, Monarch Coaching Co. We always are adding content for leaders, aspiring leaders. It doesn't matter if you're a leader. Everybody's a leader. For example, you're a leader right now in this conversation, right? So everybody's a leader in their lives. So we have tips, challenges, activities, or just resources for our people, our followers. LinkedIn, Erika Rivera Jaramillo. And yeah, I think that's it.
And say the name of the dance studio again.
Detroit Dance Loft.
And you teach what on Thursdays?
So I teach salsa and bachata on Thursdays, but they have cha-cha, they have Latin hustle, they have kizomba, zouk, they have everything. Afrobeats, which I love. They have heels, everything that you need, honestly. And the community is the community is the best part. Like you
So
really build a community there. Yes.
okay, well, I'll have to try and see if my husband. We took salsa classes once upon a time
Yes.
in Texas, and he was getting good at it. So
Mhm.
we need to get back in there.
I know it is fun. It is very, very fun. Yes, yes. Yeah, join me. I would love that.
Erika, thank you so much. And thank all of you for joining us on the Let's Glow show. Again, we meet every single Wednesday. You can watch all of the old episodes too. We are I think we're on episode 36. Holy cow, that's a lot. But watch all the episodes, give us your feedback, leave us some comments, let us know if you're interested in joining the Let's Glow show. We have an open slot every Wednesday starting in October. So we have space for you to share your advice. And like Erika said, the revamp is coming around the corner, September 7th at the Detroit Shipping Co. from 12 to 5. Pack all your old stuff, do a big purge, and come hang out with us at the Clothing Swap Festival. Thank you all so much. This is Amanda Sweet, the Creative Fairy Godmother on the Let's Glow show, and we'll see you next Wednesday. Bye.
Bye.